All right, everybody. I am excited. We're live. We got a ton of people cycling into the room. So welcome, welcome. We are so excited to bring this content to you. We're going to be talking about Azure Government Virtual Machines. So first off, I always like to give people a little bit of an intro because for some people this might be their first introduction to us. So a little bit about us. That's a picture of me going back a couple of years. I am now actually not just a CMMC RP. I'm actually a CMMC RP, CCP, and CCA. That is a certified assessor. So we probably need to update my credentials a little bit. But suffice to say, I think that's basically the highest level of personal certification you can get with the CMMC AP right now. And what all of that translates into, I got to tell you, my experience way outweighs any kind of academic tests I've taken. At the end of the day, since 2003, we have been working with government agencies and defense contractors to help them with information technology, managed IT services, cybersecurity, and compliance. That's a big deal. 21 years in the business as of the recording of this webinar. Long time. And we were there at the very beginning of NIST SP 800-171. Again, we have an office in Virginia Beach, Virginia. If you know anything about that area, there's something like 13 or 14 military bases right there in the area. The whole economy is very militaristic. And we have a slew of clients that are private defense contractors at the time, and they needed help. They needed big time help with this. So again, we found a real love for helping people with compliance and a real love for helping people with their cybersecurity and information security. Again, we're a division of On-Call Computer Solutions, LLC. Okay, that's a global 21 plus year veteran IT company supporting U.S. defense contractors in the defense industrial base. Our motto is that we defend those who help defend our country. And you know what? You may not realize that. Maybe you didn't consider that before, but if you're producing something for the defense industry, guess what? You're part of that. And congratulations, because you also are helping to defend our country. And we just want to help defend you. On-Call specializes in a unique compliance and cybersecurity needs of DoD contractors and those in the defense industry, just like you. This is what we do, helping people get compliant, helping people win defense work, and helping people understand how to boost that defense work into higher profit margins. It's more beneficial for your company. You get to hire more people, create more jobs, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, On-Call is all about helping you win. On-Call has also worked with many DoD contractors, and we also work with a lot of SBIR, Small Business Initiative Research Award winners, and establish an excellent track record as a long-term growth partner, providing long-term strategy and tactical support in the areas of DoD information security and compliance, cybersecurity, and strategic managed IT services. So I know today we're talking about a lot of compliance stuff, but the whole breadth of our company really encompasses all of those things. And at the end of the day, if you are looking for a better and compliant relationship with an IT vendor, definitely give us a call. We can help with that. Again, I will also share with you, we have a 98.6% client retention ratio every single year. We have a 99.4% client satisfaction rating across all service tickets. It's an incredible track record of service. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm pretty fanatical about customer service. At the end of the day, I got to tell you guys, I don't do this for the money. I do it to help our country. I do it because it's something that I've been doing for a long time. I'm very passionate about giving people what they need to help their businesses succeed. When that happens, one, it helps the economy. Two, they wind up giving a lot of great jobs out there, and that helps us and it helps the community. And it's just a really good place to be. Again, sure, we're a for-profit company, but at the end of the day, we're here to help you guys. We're very passionate about the idea of supporting our defense industry. Now, we also are very privileged to support hundreds of defense contractors, including the world's largest defense contractors, and watch how they operate and grow. I just have to share with you guys, we work with some of the largest subcontractors for Lockheed, BAE Systems, Northrop Grumman, you name it, we've worked with them. We work with those companies directly, indirectly through their subcontractors. I got to tell you, we work with companies that have 63,000 employees. We work with companies that have one employee. The neat thing about us is, as a partner, you get so much more than what you pay for. You get so much more than the information security and compliance stuff, the IT management. You're getting a partner who understands the defense industry. You're getting a partner who understands how to win in the defense industry. Also, we've advised millions through our YouTube channel. We've helped people to get their own certifications. We've helped people to understand the controls, because let me tell you, these controls are not easy to understand. It's very difficult to get through. And we've also helped people to just generally get compliant as well through our YouTube channel. Again, there are some people out there who, they're already 90% of the way across the finish line. They just need a little bit of help. Hey, go check out our YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com/@OnCallCompliance. It's a great place to be. But for those people who ultimately, right, this is a business thing, right? They just got to get compliant. Look, you guys are all experts at what you do. We're the experts when it comes to DFARS, NIST, and CMMC compliance, ITAR, EAR compliance, all that stuff. That's what we do. We crush it, all right? Like no other. Again, you'd have to take more years than I can count on my fingers to try to figure out the level of knowledge that we have and to be able to implement this correctly the first time. Why would you do that? You keep doing what you do, we'll come in and help with compliance. That's how we roll. So let's dive into it. Different possible ways to get compliant today. Okay. Number one, enterprise versus enclave. Okay. When you go and submit your SPRS score, you're going to have two choices. One, enterprise, two, enclave. What does that mean? Good question. So an enterprise is when your entire company is going to be compliant. Everything is in scope, right? Everything in your company is going to be in scope. And if you're a smaller company, that's going to be pretty easy to do, right? If you're 5 computers and less, it's not a big deal to just get your computers compliant, get your small office compliant. No big deal. If you got a home office, it's even easier. However, for a lot of companies out there, that is not an option. They've got maybe 5% or 10% of their business that is in defense. And so they're going to need some isolated and air-gapped place to hold and manage and manipulate controlled unclassified information that comes as a result of doing business with the DoD. Now, what is the choice here between enterprise and enclave? Well, it could be a choice of cost. So there's a great cost difference in many cases to getting your whole entire infrastructure compliant versus just getting a small enclave compliant. Why is this a critical conversation? Because Azure Government Virtual Machines could allow you to create that isolated enclave with ease. And it could be a very, very good way to do it. So with that in mind, I think it's important to understand that there's a big, big difference. Now, if you're a manufacturing company in the defense industry, that becomes really challenging. Can you enclave? Sure, but it might be a real challenge. Why? Because a lot of companies in manufacturing use something called an ERP or an enterprise resource planning system or an MEP or any number of other terms it goes by. But it is essentially one system where work flows from quotation to sales order to production to job ticket, if you will, all the way into post-production, shipping, and it's all in that one system. Very, very, very difficult to enclave when you have an ERP system. Although Azure Virtual Machines might make that a whole lot easier, and I'll show you how. So there is a lot of consideration that has to be done when you're first getting into being compliant of how you're going to scope it, because it will have a big impact on the cost you pay. And it will also have a big impact on what you have to do to be compliant, whether it's simple or complicated. Again, every company is different. There's no way you should take away any conclusion from this webinar on what you should do. It's just a matter of understanding that there are options. Some of those options could save you a lot of money. And I think one of the places we just bring tremendous value is in the understanding that, what it boils down to is if you plan it correctly up front, then it could save you literally millions of dollars in terms of fees you didn't have to pay over the long-term and recurring basis. So it's really worth it to do this right the first time. That's where we really shine. Compliance through controlled channels and specific solutions such as Microsoft Office 365 GCC High. So now we get a little bit deeper. Okay, now we're also talking about the idea of controlled channels. So in other words, we're going to say, hey, wait a minute. All right, our systems may not have to all be compliant. It's only those systems that touch CUI and support CUI. Those are what have to be compliant. So now what we have to do is we have to go and say, okay, so let's keep all the CUI in, let's say, a OneDrive folder or SharePoint library in Office 365 GCC High. Okay, all right, now we're getting somewhere, right? Maybe a little bit more efficient. Maybe it's easier to define and scope for an assessor. And we can say, hey, assessor, all our stuff's in Office 365 GCC High. We don't keep CUI on our regular systems. And for a lot of people, that's a workable solution, right? They can email it, they can file share it. That may take care of a lot of things. But then you have another challenge, which is local versus in the cloud. and the challenge of FedRAMP moderate. So we all know DFARS 252.204-7012 dictates that solutions have to be FedRAMP moderate or equivalent. Okay, that's a challenge for a lot of solutions. Great example is Dropbox. Great example is a couple of other solutions that, again, may not meet that FedRAMP moderate threshold in all forms. Another option is if the solution is local, let's say you hosted SharePoint locally on your network and there's no way to access it from outside, unless maybe it was through a multi-factor authenticated VPN. Well, all of a sudden, even though you're using a commercial Office license or SharePoint license, because it's local, that's okay. So there's all kinds of different things to consider, whether it be having everything on a local network or in the cloud. These days, no IT guy really wants to deal with local solutions. They want to deal with things in the cloud. That way, when it breaks, it's not their problem. They're sort of pushing off the tech support into that to the cloud vendor, much safer for their job security, shall we say. And ultimately, it's a very strong consideration, especially when you consider the idea that not all cloud solutions will really work. So again, we can put solutions locally. We can have everything local, or we can also have it in the cloud. So those are considerations as well.